Oui, ça va mieux. Ça a traité ce fico da privada.
Já estamos ao vivo, tá? Não, mas agora. Começar agora.
Quase. Bon, so we are back on air. Thank you, François, if you're still there, Carlos, and all the friends and colleagues who are connected. So this is the last day and the last half day. So there will be a presentation by Cadu, Carlos Eduardo Melo, who is a professor at PUC-Rio and a specialist in various things, including statistics and deep learning, but not just deep learning. And we'll give a presentation more about his thoughts about the use of such techniques for not just for music but for society and etc. So I will I will discover what he will say. Then after Mateus, who's from PUC-Rio as well, and the musical school, will present his experience using such kind of tools as a composer and as a violinist, and a super violinist. Because yesterday we had a wonderful time with him. And after, the idea is to use the remaining time to survey a little bit some of the questions. So we have a proposition with three I already talked about before at the end of this morning's session proposal, but just to try to wrap up before leaving to continue discussion. I think it's because more starting actually than a conclusion complete. So, Cadu, thank you for being here, especially because he was very sick on Monday, and
thanks, Jean-Pierre.
Thank you to Pedro, who's also a professor, a colleague from PUC-Rio, and who's here today.
Thanks, Jean-Pierre, for the invitation. Hi, guys. The idea of, when we start to discuss about what I could present, I was wondering about music generation and how this topic has a link with what I've been doing as a researcher here at PUC-Rio. And I have a group that I coordinate which works on data science for social good. So the idea is to use data science tools and the basic framework of data science and try to pursue practical, or at least more practical problems which are useful for social good in some way. So I'm trying to do here is to leverage some questions about how can we use music generation for social good. And just to give you a context about what is data science for social good, this is a international movement which started at University of Chicago, and the idea is try to bring people together, specialists in data science and practitioners, researchers, academics, and try to focus on specific problems in very short projects, and try to deliver some real world worth for the problem and the society. So here are some initiatives we have around the world, and here are some axes about social good. So we can try to fix problems on education, health, government, transparency, criminal justice, disaster relief. So, and in different place we can the main task of the data science for social good is try to, okay, let's identify a problem that we are able to solve or to contribute for a solution, which is where we can use a data-driven framework. So on here, this is the logo of our group here, and this is an attempt of a think tank. So I have more or less, now we are around about, we're about 22 people from industry, different universities. Some of them are my students as well. But the idea is to try to work in a project-oriented way, try to focus on social and context relevance, try to focus on real-world challenge, and try to bring this to academia. And this is quite interesting because most of the problems we are working at, in general, in university, we have more or less well-framed problems. So like a music generation. So this is a well-framed problem with some variations, but in general we have this main focus already defined. And when you have a real-world problem, the technical point is not well-defined. Mm-hmm. So if I say, okay, let's try to use one example of problem. How to deliver water for poor people in the northwestern of Brazil. How can we use data-driven solutions for that? So how can we contribute for it? So, and this is not a well-defined problem in terms of technical stuff. So, okay, how can we use? There are many ways to think about this problem. And there are many forms to understand how we could use data. So we could invest on giving mobile device for people in order to try to capture or to understand their needs, and in order to understand the seasonality of the needs related to water. Try to understand the economic impact. So we have a wide range of possibilities if we think about this. So this is and this is a key problem, because framing a problem is the huge part of a great solution. Okay. So
I'm sorry, just to say that I completely agree. Sorry to interrupt.
No, yes, the idea is
to hesitate to comment and to completely agree with you that the real world, so the real world, including industry, and real problems are a source of real problems.
Yeah.
And this is a way to avoid the researchers defining their own problems or non-problems from the techniques, their solutions, the technical solutions. So I just wanted to say that from the musical point of view, creating a great music, it's not a well-defined problem.
No, yeah.
So
yeah, but
a real world.
It's a real world problem. Yeah.
To say, so.
But what I mean is.
No, I know. Just wanted.
Yeah. What I mean is.
So
okay.
Same,
yeah. After this, after a couple of slides, I'll make myself clear in this at this point. So I want to take ahead on this. Okay. So, and another point is try to engage people. And that's why, or one of the proposals of this presentation is try to engage someone of you or the audience outside. Okay. So, and in general, the focus is short-term projects, because with short-term projects, we can focus on, at least that's the idea, on what really matters in terms of delivery. Because if we think about problems related to social problems, we have to understand that most of these people which we are trying to deliver something, they are really needing this solution. So the idea is it's better to focus on simple things and to deliver fast instead of thinking about a great solution, a great proposition, and to take too long time for that. Okay, and especially in Brazil here. We focus on local problems. So here we have plenty of social problems like urban planning, violence, and poverty, and different many other different social problems, and that's the focus here. Okay, so and working on this problem, we also not only delivers a solution for that, but we are able to understand actually what is happening, what is the problem. At the beginning, we believe that we know what is the problem, but after some working on it, we started to engage and to dig into the questions, and the true questions, and try to and realize that our understanding of the phenomenon about we are trying to work on it is not that one we believe at first. And so this is mostly interdisciplinary work, okay? And we focus on our own solutions, okay? So this is, and we work, I mean, the way, and this is not proposed by my group, but we inherited this from the practice we have around the world on this. We have basically three major foundations for this way of work. Is focus on applications, focus on research, and focus on professional training. Because if we are able to deliver to the society a real world projects work for solving a real problem, social problem perfectly, do some research in terms of what we learn from this project that we can give back to the academia and see, okay, literature, okay, here this is a solution that works. We try this, we try that, and it's worked or it's not working. Okay, and professional training is it's in green because this is for us here in Brazil. It's the most important thing to form and to prepare people. Okay, train people. So, what's about this stuff? Okay, so let's. The idea is, okay, how can we think about music generation, artificial intelligence, social good, and how does think make ties? Okay, so and what are the potentials and terms? And I started to think about music for social good, and I don't know, but have you? Sorry.
Yeah, I have plenty of ideas about music.
Yeah. So let's discuss.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my lab we are School of Management Technology, and we have colleagues that works in the health industry. And so in my lab, I mentioned yesterday, we have some students, for example, who are an app for relaxation, meditation, nutrition, sleep, and adaptive music that help us. But more generally, there's everyone who's a daughter of people like that, and you see working groups. In working groups, this is really TVs from even nothing, or TVs, playing some very uncertain news. And it turns out that the study is showing that in working groups all over the world, people get misdiagnosed because they get stressed and anxious when people making groups, And then when we talk to the doctor, they sort of misreport their symptoms. So all sort of issues with that writing that we're using. In our case, we see for some generation, music is ever changing, which you can provide at the same time, controllable, interacting with other staff and all that. So that's something that we the same, sound like every day, things like that. I think there's a big issue here. I feel that a lot of impact. It's just one area we're working in a lot.
Yeah, I'll try to separate two things when I talk about music for social good. Okay, so if you take a look at almost all these axes on social good, I could say that education and health are the most important or most straightforward areas to apply music for social good. And I'll discuss a little bit about education and after health, and I'll explain how these two things tie, and then we discuss more on this topic you talk about. Here's a photo. It's the school where I studied. Yeah, and I was introduced to music education when I was 10 years old, and it's really important because all the students of my class in some way were really benefit from music education, and most of us were haven't become musician or something like this, but the way of building ideas and structure in the cognitive structures are different, and this is a research result. Okay, and some benefits of music education are
Social skills.
yeah, there is a huge list actually. There are many literature results on this, and music education helps to support all other learning things. So if you learn music, you are likely to learn, or at least it will be easier to learn other things. Okay, language development. Okay, music is a language, and the more language you learn, the easier the next ones. So actually, if you learn your own tongue and music, so you are already speaking two languages. Okay. Another one is to improve social competence. As long as language development is one intrinsic stuff that you learn from music education, you start also to develop your social competence, especially when you are a kid. So, and this is really important because we are humans, and humans learn from social interactions. Okay, increase IQ. This is all these bullets are results published on medicine and specialized literature. Okay, so increase IQ. Research has been done. The idea was, let's try to understand how is the IQ score, the average IQ score between people in some controlled variable, considering controlling some variables. But one group had music education, and the other one has no access to music education. And there is a difference in terms of IQ being a little bit high for the ones who were provided with music education. Okay. Strength neuroactivity. As music stimulates our brain in different ways, you got better and more connections between your neurons, and your brain is able to perform better in some ways. Okay. spatial temporal skills. Spatial temporal skills is something that we are not aware about this, how this connected to music education. But one experiment and study on this showed that kids who were offered to music education developed skills, better skills for spatial temporal things, like understanding how the time goes by and how spatial objects are over the space. Improved test scores is also connected to IQ increasement and stimulate many soft skills that Jaber spoke at the beginning. And so music education is something very important, and these results are what we say when we started to structure a data science solution. Our first step is try to understand our problem, and the other one is to list our hypothesis about the phenomenon we are trying to understand. So, and before get hands dirty coding some stuff, we have to first define what we want to consider as a ground truth in order to start to state our solution for whatever we are doing. And these are some bunch of results we have. We could consider some one of these in order to try to design a solution using data science framework, connecting this. And the key point behind all those bullets is music intelligence, or musical or music intelligence. The term is interchangeable in the literature, but and music intelligence, it's about this. House. Yeah. So, and so that's one skill we learn by starting with music education. When I was a kid, I used to play guitar, and nobody at home cared for me and the music. So I started, okay, oh, there is some guy speaking loud in there. Okay, but I'm here doing what I want to do. So, and music intelligence is one of the key stuff that we can try to focus in several, if we think that this is an umbrella concept behind all those bullets I told before. And think about it and say, okay, so one problem that I could think is how to improve music education or to deliver music education in some sense using data-driven solutions. So if you think about how music education works in a classical way, is okay, you have a room, teacher, the students, the instruments, and the things goes in this way. Usually it's in this way, or peer-to-peer. So if you think about, okay, but if I want to deliver music education for those guys who are in a very poor community in Rio de Janeiro, or if I want to deliver this in a very small town in Brazil, close to Amazonian forest. So this is one thing that we could think about. Another X on social good that we can think about music to deliver social good is music and health. And music and health is really it's higher, more study if we compare to music education. Actually, music and health, in general, the keyword, the most important keyword that he talked about, Philippe, sorry, and is the keyword is music therapy. Okay, and music therapy, it's a huge area of investigation in medicine, and there is not much things in terms of, not too many things in terms of music generation, and we'll talk about deeper afterwards. So music education, music and health, if you think about this, we can improve mood. So when, depending on the music you are listening to, this music is able to lower your blood pressure, to lower your heart rate. So this can be used in several ways and several therapies for different people. Reduce stress as a consequence of this. And there is a bunch of work proving or showing at least that music which is quite tuned for your needs can improve your stress status. In terms of, okay, you can reduce your stress if you choose the right music to listen at that moment. Less anxiety that you use that as yeah. Improve exercise too. So it's a study has shown that athletes, high performance athletes, perform better by listen specific music because it's able to deliver some substance at the blood, which improves your performance in terms of sport. Actually, it's dopamine. So this is the key, which is highly related to the way that our brain works and the way our brain, our body responds to the exercise. Okay, so improve memory. There are many works on Alzheimer's and music therapy, and it's been very clear that music is helping people with Alzheimer's, especially those who are at the beginning of Alzheimer's. So these people are being recommended to do some music therapy, and it's been working quite well, especially in the United States and Canada. Canada has a strong group on this music therapy for Alzheimer's, and in order to strengthen memory and easy pain too. So, and that's one of those points you are in the waiting room. So we are there. So, but one experiment which is has been quite interesting is after a surgery, which is complex surgery, people were offered to music, and specific music styles for keep person calm, and it has shown to improve the sensation, the perception of the pain after comparing with those who were not offered to music. Okay, provide comfort too. Improve cognition. So people that are working listen to music, depending on the music. These ones are in general more able to obtain better ideas, because they were working on with music. Okay, and one which is special for me is to help children with autism spectrum disorder, especially when we have the crisis of the autism spectrum disorder. It's really important the music therapy for keep the kids more calm, to calm down kids. Okay, and also another one which is very because at the beginning of our lives, we don't understand music, but we we perceive, we listen that, and in some way we react on this. And it has been shown that preterm babies um, are respond very well with in an environment with music. If we compare to an environment with no music, so it's better to suit premature babies. Okay. So another keyword that we have as a takeaway here is music therapy. So let's try to think about these two keywords and understand that okay, music is what is the healing power of music? Okay, and considering this, so and thinking more generally in terms of music for social good, we can think that okay, we have 2 points in terms of that music is able to enhance in terms of social good. So it's a cultural process and biological process. And I'll keep myself here focused on biological process, because I believe that we have a more open discussion in order to tie this with neuroscience, as long as we are talking about neural networks. Okay. So what could be the challenge for music intelligence and music therapy? Okay. And music, so the key point or the key assumption we have here is music is able to enhance specific neurological stimuli. So by using music, we can stimulate our brain in some way. And the point here is how to improve this in order to design music to deliver the right stimuli for that right person for the right disease or the right need. Okay. So there is a Oxford Academic Journal of Music Therapy, which shows that this hypothesis about the connection of music and stimuli, neurostimuli, and here there is a bunch of this are the 2 most important works that at least actually this one, the first one, is one of the most interesting in terms of showing this connection. Okay, and this research is receiving focus inside the music therapy. And the key point, the key outcome of this works in the literature is that music and the brain and how the rhythm, the tune, the tone connects or stimulates specific parts of our brain. Okay, so and then I started to try to define or to frame a problem that we could think more deeper. So are we able to design or to think about music and to design music in a synthetic way to deliver the right stimuli for, or can we enhance efficiency in terms of this? Because music therapy in the classic way is a musician goes there, a therapist goes there and plays some instrument, uses specific instruments, because depending on the tempo and the timbre, it will change the performance of the therapy. So there is an association of a music therapist in the United States, for instance, regulated activity in order to do this. Okay. So and then I started to think about, so if we believe, so if you want to deliver music therapy in an automated way, are we able to design a personalized neurostimuli? So thinking of something more connected to neuroscience, okay? And one point is, are we able to use reinforcement learning and framework in order to tune a model, in order to get to understand or to receive a feedback from the patient in order to improve the treatment. Okay, and the point is, let's try to think about music as a medicine. Okay, so here's some. So up to now, I just put some ideas here and talk about some results. But what I want to discuss is how can we, which problems we can actually deliver in a short term for music therapy, for instance, by using the framework we've been discussing this couple of days. Okay. So, how to reduce stress reduction, blood pressure reduction. I was wondering if we consider someone with higher hypertension, high blood pressure, and instead of this guy taking a pill in order to reduce the blood pressure, if this guy started to work 4 hours of this day by listening to specific music that started to reduce the blood pressure by reducing the stress. And this is one point that's been trying to understood by the literature. Okay, pain relief. If you think about people who has to handle chronic disease that
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. There's a great example here in pain relief. So I'll talk a bit later. I didn't have time to cover any of that yesterday, but we have a bunch of things for end of life in VR with music and all sorts of things going on. Pain relief is very well known studies where they use not so much music as sound. I mean, mostly where we're talking about people that have been burned, and when you don't have any more skin, you have to change the
yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? This is one of the most painful situations you can do in your life. So the those guys are usually drugs, MPV drugs, crazy drugs. It turns out that better than morphine is to put a VR headset with an interactive game so you can dance so really fast and you play super loud white noise. Like, you know, these are really sound and stuff. And that would allocate pain more than any drug.
Yeah. And there are two hypotheses on this in terms of delivering a solution for that. Is one hypothesis is the effect of the music someone is listening, or is the mechanical stimuli you're receiving by the sound wave resulted. And there are two paths for that. And actually, one thing researchers are trying to figure out is, or at least are about to understand, is okay, are these two paths are independent or not? And I would say that most part of the work are showing that it's a mix. So it's not only the mechanical perception of our body cells, but also the neurological stimuli we receive by receiving that sort of sound in the according to the rhythm or the pitch or something like this. Okay, so and anxious decrease. I'll start to just memory enhancement, easy pain, improving comfort. So this is our points, and some research on this connection between music therapy and artificial intelligence, and I was surprised when I started to research this, and there is not too much things done on this stuff. And actually, this if we take a look at this is just one in order to illustrate, but if we consider that music therapy and artificial intelligence, the most important work Google Scholar has found was just cited by 18 other papers. This is not that much, okay? And so it's a field which is a new venue in my perception. And if you try to other keywords and try to extrapolate, you see that there's not too many works on this. And one thing that I believe is, in general, that is my experience from computer science. Computer scientists are actually getting used to receive well-framed problems in terms of challenge, of computational challenge. So most of the problems I've been working on my academic life is, okay, we have a data set or a couple of data, and we want to improve our accuracy up to a certain level, or we want to reduce some sort of characteristic of performance we have, and this is our job usually, okay? And if we start to think about this sort of problems, okay, it requires that we are willing to talk to people from medical school, or people from music school, and that's one of the reasons I found here is a great opportunity to talk a little about this. And this is the most important, I mean, the recent paper we've been published on this, I've found published on this, and even the keywords people are working on it is not actually the buzzwords we who are used to work on machine learning were at least, okay, algorithm, music, what's this about? So, but actually this is machine learning. And and this work is quite interesting. And of course there are other attempts and other works, but as you can see, even these ones which are more almost 10 years from the publishing, there are not too much attention on this. And but now I believe that the area of machine learning is quite mature in terms of technology to try to focus on these sort of problems. So here is another one. Okay. So open discussion. So now, what's the idea? That is, try to talk about a little bit on this. And one thing that I thought is, if we could try to do some exercise in terms of, are we able to think about a feasible solution to deliver some sort of music therapy designed for some purpose? So if we try to start to think about, do you believe that music generation is well matured in terms of the knowledge related to this? Not to deliver music that we are comparing to a professional musician is good enough, but maybe the music that we are able to generate, obviously not comparing to a professional musician, but if you think about this, if we try to design a neural network in order to deliver, or to generate samples of music, which are better to improve Alzheimer or some stuff like this. And one challenge related to this is, are we able to do this in a short-term project? So that's one discussion that I would like to listen from you, your thoughts. Okay. Okay.
First, thank you.
Okay.
For provoking us.
Yes. I have several questions, of course.
Yeah.
My first remark is, can you make abstraction of the people aspect of the patient to help? For me, it's impossible to have music as a general concept. The music for you, the impact of music for you, will certainly will be the same as mine. So I don't believe
Yeah.
I don't believe you can have a global solution. And this is my second remark concerns the quality. I think you need to have an impact. Has to be very good quality. So today we saw that according to what the quality is good. Okay, this is the limitation. But there may be something different. It's more to understand who you are. And according to who you are, what is the music which best fits the sample you want to solve? That's completely different. The idea is not to generate music, to ask enough good music in the world today, not concentrate to generate new one. But the difficulty is to find a good one according to your problem.
It's the same discussion we had, if you allow me. The same discussion happened from Bruno Feijó, his student. Because in games, for example, we can have good effects in emotion and everything else, but not necessarily writing music. For example, we talk a lot about sound effects, we talk a lot about ambient music, ambient effects, and we have some kind of different things that are not technically, structurally, what you call a song or a piece with all this stuff, and that does the job.
So, okay, yeah, but just to, so, considering this as a premise, or as a hypothesis for, so one problem that we could try to think about is, okay, so music, one assumption that we have here is music is not the pill of music medicine is not the same for everyone. So it's highly personalized. So, and this is one very strong reason why maybe music generation could be an interesting path.
Or selection.
No?
Selection.
Or at least selection.
Selection of existing
I agree, but our cultural background is built on basement and this basement. And for example, if for me the passion of sonatude from Bach is relevant, not necessarily to be the new one.
Yeah. It could be a world one.
By regular orchestra, with the director, you never get the quality. And the discussion of that is very strong for me. So,
The problem is not to generate music in this case, you know, and the impact of singing back will measure the power. And for me, it's bossa nova from Ramalho. Okay, you don't need to do a new bossa nova from Ramalho. It works, and it works only if it's bossa from Ramalho, you know. So
Yeah.
Okay, for me, it's contradiction.
Okay.
I'd like to add something, please. Because my mother has Alzheimer's, and I know perhaps there is a very good documentary on Netflix that's called Live Alive Inside. The documentary of a very, very beautiful work, a social assistant guy that is in
Retirement.
and he goes to this house that where people, old people stay, and he does a work on memories, the kind of music this person liked, and he built a playlist with this music, and it's incredible how people react. And my mother was the same. My mother, at different moment, couldn't forget a lot. She forget things, but she could sing everything.
Yeah.
At a given moment, she couldn't sing because he didn't remember the lyrics, but she sings the melody. Then later, and at that moment, she stopped to talk with us. And then later, she made the rhythm. So this is important because in terms of personalization, of course, this can be combined with the other things. But there is all this cultural background that could be an AI can help. For example, if I know 3 or 4 or 5 songs that this person likes, I can try to find similar things and then pick it up. For example, perhaps it will help. AI can also help, for example, if you have, I don't know whether that's these kind of results, but probably. But for example, try if for a given person, certain kind of music give a good effect, we have the tools to analyze, to understand the musical properties of the thing, and go for the song that exists, for example. I think that's simpler, probably more efficient way to start.
It's just want to think because I with my mother. She's very old, and once a day I go home and she was exactly and she's from the center of France, in this specific area. We have very kind of no, it's a kind of common music.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yes, but it's awful. It's absolutely awful. It's very noisy and so. But when you go on YouTube, I was looking into I know that she liked the very well childhood. Like your mother. I put this music.
Yeah.
She just awake, and she just she cannot move. So exactly that. And the important thing,
and it's not getting better in terms of disease, but
the stimuli.
And that works well. It works because it's exactly the noise. And the music that she used to learn when she was if she put another piece of color music with a different piece of music, it's not the same. No, it's not.
Yeah.
have the same experience.
Maybe one of the risks of our side assignment is to put the intelligence into the brain. We are not sure that intelligence is inside the brain. This is let's say a paradigm which comes from the metaphysics of the people at the end of the 19th century. But if you read, for example, Henri Bergson, with this kind of developer, he said do not know where is the intelligence. And to focus on the brain is not necessarily the good way. So this is a bit broken, but I think it's interesting for us as scientists keep in mind also that we have a physical baseline, and having which are not necessarily the good one. Mainly, it's more important to focus on the future without knowing exactly what it's future, but more than the something which use
The neuroscience
like
stuff.
a machine, but we are not sure that it's a machine.
Yeah, that's a key point. And one thing that I read on these papers about how to use music. I mean, how music therapy may improve Alzheimer's and memory. And one thing that's remind my grandma who has still Alzheimer's is sometimes she starts to sing some lullabies from Portugal because she's Portuguese, and it's so incredible. So how she has this, and when she started on this, she became a little bit more aware, and afterwards goes off. So yeah, but there is a connection, and seems, at least from an anecdotal examples, seems that even the childhood music that we have on our brains are the last stuff we are lost in.
This
We are
is
losing
there
the
is
learning.
scientific result on that. Emmanuel Henri, who is a friend of us, and who is a very good, well-known neuroscientist in France, she said to me, the part of the brain that used to memories are the last to degenerate.
Is it the brain?
Or on the brain. Okay. She said to me. So,
No, but-
of course, it is a neurologist.
But that's a great research question. Is it in the brain or not?
But anyway, but even it's not the cultural effect is very important.
Yeah, this is sure.
I had some experience with my mother. I saw a documentary in Japan that exactly how people didn't interact more like
Yeah.
vegetables, and suddenly playing all the Japanese songs. But because they remain. We all have experienced the old memories. I mean, they are there. And so just about what you said about cultural thing, it's cultural context. Just an anecdote, but it was very interesting to me. This is about the first experience about neuroscience for studying meditation. Okay. So, such music, but somehow it's very related. It's very, and so they went to Tibet with some ECG equipment,
Mm-hmm.
functional MRI was not ready yet, and imagine to bring the equipment to Tibet. It's not
The middle of the mountains. Mobile. There is no network there.
But, so they put on Francisco Varela. Yes, no, there was a very Chilean, but in French, fantastic scientist, and also meditated. So he put, and the idea was to study well, for meditation, you're supposed to have a more clear view and to be more benevolent and compassion, etc. So they started to put all, the ECG, which looks like a bit like your the image that you generate with all the wires and all the stuff, and all the Tibetan monks were just like, and so the scientists around Varela thought, well, they're just making a fun because Varela looks ridiculous with all this equipment. No, that for them to monitor the brain was a nonsense. They thought that they would monitor the heart.
Sharpness.
So you see, it's very, very, very.
But anyway, I think that it's not really English that you have someone coming in because you know the guy to find what makes sense for this. I think
In chakras, I think there are different chakras from
I know about it. It's a real challenge.
Yes,
Yeah.
And we have a second brain in the as you know, on the stomach. Because this, sorry, just to the before becoming sapiens and demons, the most important activity was to metabolize food to survive. So actually, the first brain
Before the
even
fire.
before the
We are belly driven.
the cerebellum was the and the cell was belly.
Yeah, permission. Well, yeah, I was checking my email and I was learning what you have yesterday. Resolution. I don't realize you want. Yeah. So that's a good thing. The music AI, the AI part, because they were looking at visual memory, and there was already a number of projections pushed for one on that lesson, everything developed for a while. And so the challenge raised so far, first one is not I think that music, contemporary which is just organized. In academia, more and more we got the music somehow. That includes some scale, that includes and including the full of generated music, people
Yeah, but that's one point. I mean, his assumption is different.
In a way. And so when you talk about music and cultural context, one way around that, of course you can try to capture that last thing but the way around that is what you use. For example, content generation, content acquisition, and if you add a thing that who doesn't like the sound of the fire? Who doesn't like the sound of the ocean? If you musify that,
Yeah.
And they artistically, that's another question we're doing already for those opportunities. And so in that sense, the music creating is less of a problem. It's just try to download the IO app or something like this today that when I students and you see what I'm talking about. Then the second part is I will very, very much is that it's not the brain only. You are not even understand all that on the education, care, and everything. And so another example of system we have, which I refer to in our lab was first an hardware, but at the same time, aiming at doing something called Fire, which is a VR app in which you have a breathing sensor, and then when you breathe in, you go up in the VR world. You go above the ocean, it's very kind of quiet, and music is really soundscape, and music is based on the rhythm of the breath. The match between the sound and the breathing, and the match between your breathing and what you see. And as probably know, the visual cortex is the strongest and override everything. But now I can see my breathing. If I put something in front of myself and I ask you to follow that thing, you have to breathe in when the thing is going up. You have to breathe out when the thing is going down. And all of a sudden, I can regulate the breathing. It doesn't matter if you are doing meditation or yoga, I can do it. The music is supporting that, the following that is daily, to the point that eventually, by just learning later on, the music that I end up with the rhythm and the intensity of breath that I want for you to get into a calm state, your brain will remember and will come back to you in this sense that you get. But that one I'm talking about the resolution. But I just have to do a system around change.
Yeah, but there is a stronger question that is, what is the assumption we are using in order to start to design a solution? So if we consider cultural process, okay, from a certain point of view, it's it's much more difficult than if just consider as music like a string of sounds, and this sounds create stimuli in human brain or in wherever part of the broad it could be resulting soon.
I think the basic project is that music for me is not the art of sound or organized sound. I am from the school of Convergence, and music is the art of melody. And melody is not organized sound. The organizing is just the result, the media, but it's not the heart. Okay, so no, I'd like to say discussion.
I think we have two paths are okay for me. And we can go on this more design and design stuff. Perhaps it work. I think that just could be perhaps in research that it's done before that, in order really to understand what kind of property, what kind of results that musical products can deliver.
Yeah.
And then try to, for example, I think that's a good way on what spirit is called. But I disagree that the cultural is the more difficult. It's simpler, much more simple, because you don't need to create music. And create music that is respect all the expectation you have culturally. This is very hard. So it's better to pick the song that they exist. If they are thousands of thousands, François said to me that each day there are, I don't know, 10,000 new songs in Spotify. So we don't have to do nothing.
Yep.
You have just to understand what kind of sound this person, for example, because Alzheimer's, because what I talked about my mother, like, there is this documentary, there is work on medicine on this. So if it's the case, okay, use AI, for example. If I understand that my mother liked 205 plus, not necessarily there is someone that will tell everything she liked. Yeah, for my mother, I have built a playlist with 100 songs, but okay. But sometimes in a family, we remember 3-5 songs, and the AI can help to find things, similar things, for example.
Okay, got it.
I think that more or less it's already.
Sorry?
Yes.
I didn't hear.
More or less it's already as a first step. For example, in my case, I connect on YouTube and I ask for musical camera.
Okay.
But this is the first step of artificial intelligence because YouTube, I suppose, is using I algorithm behind. Or in this case, it's very simple. So fast. Okay, you see, how much more is direction.
So let me get the next step of the discussion. And then we will see what you are doing here. So the point is, okay, let's try to assume that we are able to, so first, we assume that music is a cultural process, and it's more important in terms of the cultural background you have, and this is, yeah, individually speaking, yeah, and okay, and another one assumption is, okay, it's fine that it's the cultural process or cultural background is more important. Also, we believe, another assumption, that music is helpful in terms of give us some benefit towards some direction of experimentation, emotional, wherever. Okay, so and let's just to get a little bit more scope better our instead of talking about Alzheimer or some specific disease, let's think about and the discussion about. So another assumption is, okay, we can't say that music it's about brain. So music, we can't say. So, but we could say that a good thermometer for us could be our heart rate. Okay, it's a good thermometer at least. Okay, so and try to design one project very short term. How how about if we think about an experiment like I could give for each one a band like this that can measure our heart rate, and I could select a sample of subjects for this. Okay, and I will ask. Okay, we could listen your favorite music, like using Spotify or whatever, and during over a certain period of time, and after you start, and after you start, you measure heart rate, and after that, okay, you just measure. Can we see that is a very simple experiment, okay, and see this. But how can we use artificial intelligence to take more benefit from this potential data we are talking about, and then think about how can we design a solution to deliver for each one here or each one who is interested. And for instance, I want to reduce my heart rate because it's something well stated in literature of cardiology that the lower your heart rate, the better is your heart health. Okay, so this is one assumption again that I'm putting on the design of this solution. So, so first, are everybody okay with this? There's a couple of assumptions.
More or less, I don't think that we need to say that culture is more important. We agree that culture has a role. There is empirical evidence for it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's more important or not. Nobody knows. The problem here, I think, is that you see the march, the process, because we are starting from what? I don't know whether there are already results that relates the healthy effects and musical progress. But if you don't know this, there is no problem. You can start trying different approach and you start measuring. And then you learn about that.
Yeah.
There is no problem. Nobody will die because he or she listened to a given song.
Depends. It depends.
You said it the first day that after listening to some
electroacoustic music can kill me. Okay, it's 1 hour. That's okay. 1 hour is
You need to listen reverse.
There's a joke, you know.
Just a joke.
Sorry, no, but so it's just a joke. Do you know the secret of happiness? You listen to blues and do song reverse. So then the money comes back, the woman comes back.
Just to comment that the object again, the music, organized music, organized music, directly the object, cycles and those impressions the and technically particular illustrate that remember when the acoustic your object developing of some division illustration. And so for the root there, a lot of research that I'm sure
Yeah. Yeah, no, sure. I'm saying this, but I'm not proposing research. My objective here is trying to discuss a couple of things, and at the end, we have framed a project that I could deliver to my students, for instance, that they try to pursue.
Very good.
Okay? So okay, so that's the main objective here. And afterwards, I'll send you the results.
Useful. And I think it's, we will do it, for me, it would be a mixture of because there's like neurofeedback somehow.
Yep.
Personal, process. We need some kind of model also.
Yeah, instead of
So we
BPM, we
need,
could use
we
ECG.
have all this data which is available now.
Yep.
It's exactly, we can try to do some correlation. So there will be machine learning techniques for sure, which help, but lots of other. It's not just one, but it's.
Yeah, but if we want to define one project, we have to make some decisions. So one thing that you talk about the BPM and the literature on this, but one thing that's not and using the assumption you introduced here. So if music is social, it's about social background and it's highly personal stuff. And so it's required to have a recommender system based on this biological feedback, which could be heart rate or whatever.
That's what they do for running apps. Running apps, they have apps already when you run, and it basically will play the music you like, the new Spotify library that aligns with the
Yeah. So, and this is the sort of thing we do. Yeah, this is the sort of thing we do with data science for social good. And this is, in general, the way we try to conceive the main ideas of the project. And then we have a pitch for the project. And then afterwards, what in general we try to do is a sort of a hackathon, datathon, something like this, in order to put a bunch of people interested in get hands dirty and on this sort of data. And we can, in a fast track, deliver high relevance and social projects. Okay, that's it. So if anybody wants my contact after that, I'll be pleased to send it.
Okay. But just one thing, because you talked a lot about music therapy in a way for well-being. I would recommend you having a look at the book which I found, which is from Berkeley, which is named Science of Happiness.
Yes.
It's not especially for music, but
actually, you send me the link. You
No,
sent.
it's not just the usual self-help.
It's a course. Yeah, no, it's different.
For selling. No, this is
interesting.
You sent me the link 2 years ago.
approach. This is not just
Yeah.
selling the
And some of the things are really
Connected to this.
Connected to because they do some study, etc.
Yeah.
It's really grounded with psychology, and they use exactly as we started to do different kind of techniques to do the most difficult things. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Most difficult things.
And live happiness, and remember that in happiness, Daniel Kahneman, the price of the
But simple things are very hard to define. So, what's a great music? What is happiness? What is
In North America, it's very easy. It's strictly correlated to
so that,
music is not something by heart. You consider it as science.
yep.
And as you read before, what is a great music? It's not something but you consider a great music. You just listen. Oh, I like that. I don't like that. You must analyze it. You must listen to it like a scientist analyzing what the composer or the songwriter has composed or written about harmony, melody, or neither both of them. if you consider avant-garde music. So music is also science, and it's not independentship something or.
I would say
I can say it because now I'm a bachelor of music, so I need to search in music. Listen to songs in music. I am a scientist also in music.
As a scientist, I suggest you to read a paper from François Passier and Noir. This is about the hit song science. That's a way, in fact, it proves literally in a lot of data and experiment that we don't know, we cannot answer this question as we want to. That's true. What I would just like to say is that congratulations for your
thank you.
initiative of using AI for good, because I've been teaching ethics and AI, and I have a lot of examples of AI that his use is not so good, so great to hear this kind of initiatives. It's true. It's not that good.
Of course we can, because our very intelligent by musical analysis and so on. And you can analyze, of course, and say, okay, but this will be some work because that and that. But if you take, for example, a good singer from the guitar, with a simple guitar, just a voice, almost nothing, a five note scale. If you analyze from a musical expression, it's nothing. That's when you listen to this guy, you have a shock.
Yeah.
But the ecologist cannot explain why. So this is, of course, good science, you're welcome, it's a good idea. But don't forget it.
Yeah.
I was talking about the everything.
Yeah, but I don't know, but
It thought about what we do was cool, right? Rousseau, really,
but it's hard to. I mean, there is a key point that it's off the discussion. I mean, at least you didn't mention. Is I mean, mathematics. Is mathematics a science or not for you? It depends.
More than 1 year of community, it's bad. It's too much. Not everyone.
Is mathematics a science or not for you?
No, we all agree that we must do science, and there are a lot of room to do science around the music subject. But this is a very interesting paper. It's much more complex phenomenon. And all we talk about social, one of the reasons they measure is that socially, culture plays a role in this perception of what's a good or music. So it's very complex phenomenon. That's okay. The only thing that I don't like about the science, let's talk your case, is first is that people that try to disguise, let's say, the quality of the result through the method. So I knew I don't give the names here, but a lot of people that it's not very good, but we have all the narrative and discourse behind the song, and this sells your fish. You can talk half an hour here about how you did your composition, then okay, the talk was okay, now I want to listen. Sometimes, very frequently, the song didn't not correspond, the piece did not correspond to the
But music is more like
the modern ploy. So I call it music avec modern ploy.
But music is more close to language studies, which is a way I mean, it's like mathematics is a language, okay, to describe something. And I don't know, but from the epistemological point of view, I would say music is more a language than a science. If we look just straight for the epistemological way of thinking science, like, okay, physics is science because we try to understand the nature from tools that we can use wherever, but the main target is to understand the nature. And music is, it's strange because music is something that we create. So it's an artifact we create, but it's not a phenomenon by itself, but it's something that we create that we understood afterwards. So, and that's my point. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that music is a science. It's more a language. I mean, there is a structure of science in terms of study and organization of the literature and something. And that point, I'm really sure about this. But epistemological, in terms of epistemology, it's not close to a science.
But what made the music and the people know, this is what we call inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Inspiration is something
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if you have a good background with a good knowledge, you are trying to develop the knowledge of the conservatoire and so on, some people cannot make it. They are very clever.
Yep.
They are very good notes. They are only critical information. But the music is absolutely boring.
Mm-hmm.
And someone else, which has the same, good music. And this is something which makes it different, and this is different.
Yep.
Just a curiosity.
Bruno, just one key point. Bruno Latour has a great book about this discussion.
Yeah. But just a curiosity is that some 10 years ago they repeated this experiment and they put people, not people, to listen to music and musicians. And people, this activates your sound perception part of your brain. I'm not talking that just brain. Just reporting the result. For musician, we have both the sound perception parts that are activated, the language part. So even this language, I believe it's language for the musician. For the other people, I mean, experimentally, it's not true. It's more complex as everything else.
It's very similar, at least for me, like wine is a good example of this. If you don't understand wine, you can't appreciate, you are not able to appreciate a good wine, a really good wine. And after you start to understand, so the perception, it's way different.
It's not because it's not the science that you cannot approach. Sure, try to study music as scientists. It doesn't mean it's just something we should. No, of course we are.
Just to say that science cannot explain.
Yeah. There is no less merit in terms of.
Going back to our friend François, composer is not a rational religion. The listener is not a rational religion as well. And there is no one theory of music. But there are so many styles, cultures of music. You don't have just one. So it's but again, it doesn't mean we cannot grasp it from a scientific point of view. For instance, going back to science of happiness, because at first I thought, this is just some propaganda, blah blah. This is just to put some like AI inside No, or Science Inside, science approved, some blah blah for being better, being more happy, etc. And I follow. I really like their approach, but they don't say, "Oh, you understand everything about happiness," but they really try to do some reproducible study and lots of experimental study, etc. So it's very interesting because they are and participate in this course because of the science, experimental psychology, etc. So just so we are interested about music as scientists because it's so complex. It's a real
world
complex.
problem.
It's very very complex, very difficult. So it's and also as Dr. said, it's not just reason, rational. That is, it's just because it's well composed, etc. There's no this emotion,
Yeah.
kind of brain, etc.
Or at least we didn't understand yet we haven't understood yet the rationality of the music. Yeah, that's the point. Okay.
There's not only rationality about it.
Yeah.
There's also the emotion. There's no emotion.
Yeah, that's the funny part. Okay.
Anyway, maybe we should. Well, thank you again.
Okay, thank you guys.
I think another great, very discussing. No, but this was really not just sell your fish. Thank you.
Okay.
I was really not expecting. I didn't know any expectations, so that you would do something very interesting. But I'm very happy. And wow, so Mateus, you want to, maybe Mateus, yesterday, and I will post maybe some on the web, we had some music again, this time on a more petit comité and only acoustic, and more Brazilian bossa nova, and Mateus joined us, and was fantastic. He's a great violinist, and he's with a degree from PUC-Rio, the School of Music, and he's also a composer. And he had experiment with some actually Max. So I think it's
And also Super Collider. Sorry.
So I think it's.
This is the Super Collider. I just heard.
We don't need an eye to make it.
I just heard.
And actually, it would be great to hear the result and a bit about the process and your experience, all the details. But and you have your violin with you. You have your
No,
consultant.
just the computer.
Oh, no, okay. It's so violino. Voilà.
Yes.
If you could, after
Yes.
a little bit of violin, for everybody being happy, and we have less chance to be Alzheimer.
Eu acho que não
Let's do some
liguei.
practical experiments. C'est quelque chose
So, good afternoon.
So, So again, Mateus Souza is
is a graduate, recent graduate from.
I think
It's not working.
Who?
It's not working.
Thank you.
So Mateus Souza is. We're happy to have him here. Again, our public is not very large, but is very diverse. This is very interesting because we have viewpoints from really different practitioners, teams, etc. Usually more than one role for one person. And so he's recently graduated in Mali from Villalobos Institute, which is the music school of PUC-Rio, which is just over there. And so please, Mateus, welcome. Thank you.
So, good morning again. But first, I would like to thank you, Professor Jean-Pierre, and thank you all for this great workshop. Today, I'm going to speak about my experiences. The beginning of the learning and the experiences with the computer in interacting with my compositional contemporary music process. So, such as electroacoustic music and music with interaction with music programming. So, starting about my compositional general concepts and materials, I look for. I asked myself yesterday to be completely true. Today at 4 p.m. 4 a.m. I was doing these PowerPoints.
The slides. So you haven't slept.
Yes, I haven't slept.
Most of the participants.
I asked to myself, what kind of materials and concepts do I look for in the process of composition of a piece of music? First of all, the complexity, and I mean clusters, which means in Portuguese, complexos sonoros. I do not think about chords, D major, C major, E minor. I think conglomerates of pitches that create clusters formed by second minors and also microtones. Also noises, so extended techniques on the instruments, like in piano, not playing just notes. The violin, the same using the violin body sound as percussion instrument. And about electroacoustic music, white noise, for example, and just really distorted sounds, maybe of a bird singing, becoming really unrecognizable sound. Improvisation also is something that I look for inside this set of the complexity. So I mean, irregular rhythms and also musical gestures without a traditional indication of the rhythm. And also another set is the lyricism. I try to do all these kind of things without the loss or lyricism or with lyricism. So the first example, I just bring 3 pieces I've composed since 2019. The first one is an electroacoustic miniature. It's let me see. The materials and the processes used to compose this piece was, in terms of pitches, the second minors and the augmented fourths, with microtones higher or lower than the traditional way of intonation, extended the techniques and irregular rhythms. I composed this piece using fixed medias, pre-recorded audio files of ukulele. It's an away instrument, American instrument. About the electroacoustic part, it was composed also using white noise and synthesizer, and I used electroacoustic effects, simple effects, just like fade in and fade out, reverse, and white noise things and synthesizer. And the process of construction was collage and juxtaposition. So let me open the, the video. It's a really short piece of music. It's really a miniature. So it's used.
Right now. Vai.
Será? Acho que
Agora vai. Agora vai.
So it's a very simple use of the electroacoustic process, but a not very interesting and complex sound thing. So this is this is one of the first experiences with music composition and the using of the computer in by me. The video score, this nice image, was created by a software called Sound Visualizer. The next one is sorry. Yes. Multimedia composition, composition for French horn, tape, tape used, composed by 60 meters of a French horn, and also a recording of an improvisation on Super Collider, and the lighting. So I composed a video to irradiate the performer in a totally breakout room. So it's not yet recorded, but I have the score and I have the the electrical spots to show you. And the materials are the same. Complexity are all the same. I said in complexity, like clusters, noises, improvisation. Uh, there is here a cross-disciplinary interaction with the biologic sciences and and environment uh, uh, issues. Coleoptera is a class of insects. They are also the butterflies and the bees. The bees. So there is a kind of bees. They are they have bioluminescence. So the lighting inspired by these 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 characteristics of them, and I searched also in this piece and the French part and also the electrical scale devices to create a signification in music of the sound of the insect calls. So there is some little short sounds like this to signify these insects just walking, and there are gestures in music that indicates the flying and returning to the floor. Uh, so uh, the process I used in Super Collider was this kind of process. Eu cresci. There is another use of the supercollider using the computer as a theory. So I produced this What I think to do. The same. This car. Mhm. This car, as I said, is a non-traditional uh, sheet music. So I use contemporary notation. There is a interesting book that that teaches these kind of notation. Of the maestro Georges Antunes, who is a Chevalier des Arts en France. Uh, and these music notation. So I use improvisation. There is here improvisation using this set of musical gestures, improvisation of sound by the performer, and the video to produce the lighting, and in the there is a traditional way of composition of notation, but a very complex use of rhythms and non-regular rhythms, and use of mathematics also to create these kind of rhythms. Uh, and the result of the electroacoustic part is this. Can I open? So again, just to the live streaming, the recorder, the performer will play what you are saying in this call together, interaction with the tape. So the next piece is a piece I wrote in this year to violin, and uh, a very beginning experience with Max and SP. I The materials is also the touching of the complexity in lyricism. There is use of the intertextuality with a piece of Mozart and also a piece of Telemann. And the Max programming was used to create reverberation and a room of high reverberation, and also to generate loop of this the part of the loop is related to the intertextuality with the Telemann's piece. Telemann's was a German Baroque composer. He was a very important composer to the Western music, a very French friend of Johann Sebastian Bach, and the piece of the Mozart piece is the E minor violin sonata for violin and piano. So I used the first period. They are which they are two phrases. I will stop the sound in the end of the period, uh, and I distort absolutely this beautiful melody. to create an intertextuality and to promote some kind of humor. I think it's very important. So I will play a little part of this music. Again. So the second piece is a piece of the concerto for four violins. Number one in G major for Telemann. I used the first two bars, the first two notes, G and A. But the A I used an octave lower because in the experience the result sound was not very good with this A. So I prefer to get these A an octave lower, and the piece is very beautiful. So, but I will play just the first two bars. The motive is the vertical. The motive is the vertical densification. So adding one instrument after the first one, the last one. So I will show you the piece arms. Before I will show you a bit of a little of the score. So this is the score, and a lot of use of extended techniques. So the reference in Mozart is very clear for me, but I will explain the pa pa pam 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 tiraram pam pim pam. So tararam pam pam tiraram pim So and I discuss the pitches, the use of the sound, uh, using a lot of extended techniques. So I will show you a little of the A, the A section, a little of the B section, and a little of the development section and the end. I composed this piece uh, for a doctorate defense here in music. A friend of mine, he was studying the uh, based instruction compositions, and he development a guide to compose a piece in a sonata form, and the result of the instruments of the research was to sorry the 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 purpose of the research was to see if this kind of music compositions works, this kind of guide works, and so he developed in a very common, very common and traditional structure form of the music of the sonata form. So eight composers developed in performance developed composed lots of pieces to in these based on this guide, and the composition I made were I choose these kind of materials, and to interact with new technologies such as music programming in the Max. So that's it. My experience in music composition, and the use of composer to the computer to create contemporary music.
So, thanks a lot. What others have some questions?
I would just, I'm curious about the reaction of Jim.
So do I.
So, but
Very good.
oh, I enjoy too. But my question would be, as a composer, you use Sound Collider for the sound making. You use Max MSP for the real-time sound treatment, actually, and the interaction. And but as you already know, although you haven't started to use, there are also several other systems, some coming from here,
Yes.
and future system. My question is, as and you are young and future composer and great musician already. So when with your little few experience of composition, a few pieces and using starting to use, what maybe what the current system you use, you planned to do something and you didn't have the tool, you didn't have the tool, the process, everything to maybe to do something that you wanted to do, and you still haven't necessarily a completely clear idea. So what would you like to have from from the community of the nerds?
I was
What could you imagine that you would like to have and you don't have yet? Maybe it exists, maybe not. And what level in terms of the process, in terms of the suggestion, in terms of I don't know. Just what would you like to have if you're a magician? You know, you do, and exactly the tool you want appears.
I was talking to Mauricio in the Monday, and I was talking to him. I was very interested by the Gebert work because the generation of of some cells, some motives in the computer could have me the opportunity to improvise with the computer in live performance, in a live performance, just like the computer was thinking with me together. I start and generate something, and he can develop. The computer develops, and in the process of the improvisation, the computer takes some motive of I played.
It's just to understand, it's what you desire or
What I desire.
Desire.
Yes.
That was my question, the desire.
Yes. The computer records some or takes some motive of what I played, improvising with it, and there is a change of impulses. So I would like to perform really really alone, really with the computer as a real-time intelligence in a live performance.
More like real-time, interaction.
Yes,
Conversation, not actually. There are already some
Yes,
some
yes.
systems. Sure, it's a continuator, Virtuoso by François or Max from the all Max brothers at IRCAM. So it will. I will send you.
Thank you.
And so it's interesting because it's in a way it's not directly on composition. It's more about performance and improvisation, which is a real-time composition.
Yes.
But with interaction, which is not just yourself, but in a jazz band, it's exactly all the. Actually, when once one musician starts, and like yesterday we did, is in a good band, supporting band. One improvises, but the other one are not just doing the point. It's complete. They accompany. It's always there are lots of different feedbacks, loops, different scale. So great.
So I have a question for this one. Also a provocation to Gabriel. Does the continuator exist? Because it does exist. It still exists, but is it available? It's a provocation because of the if you do not use, you do not understand, you do not appropriate the thing.
Okay.
So it would be a conceptual project, but it's a very section of cliches and the provocations. Just to think about the availability of these tools, that we always admire this kind of tool, but it's difficult to experiment the actual interaction with that. And I have a question to Matheus with you. Matheus just saw two different mindsets during your experimentation with Max and also with Super Collide. And the other paradigm is when you convey emotion through your gesture using the violin. These two interfaces that you're dealing with, let's put Super Collider and Max in the same band. Because you're using, I'm assuming you're using the mouse and the keyboard, and I'm just curious about the way when you interact with your instrument as an interface to affect the result, and the previous mindset when you add in you experiment and you just sort of show that you can control
With the mouse.
with the mouse pad. What do you feel differently in these two modes?
Between the violin and between the computer.
Yes. What do you think it's the main difference? What do you feel?
About
inside?
emotions.
Emotions or any kind of.
Maybe because the computer is something, the use of computer in the creation of music is something new. Maybe
Recent.
Recent.
No, recent.
You for me, maybe.
Recent. For you. Yeah.
no, I know. It's something very exciting, and I do have lots of fun. And playing the violin, I'm just thinking all the time. I need to play correctly, and the pitch must be the perfect sound with the perfect intonation. This microphone must be correct, or the traditional intonation must be correct. That it must be tuned with the piano or another instrument, and maybe it's more tense than discovering and making music with the computer. But I do love both. I do love playing the violin. It's not a obstacles section. I do hate what I do, but I do not have the burnout.
It's possible to do both, but you know,
Sorry.
it is possible to do both, you know, to play the violin and become a computer musician. But at the same time, if you want to be very, very good at the violin, it's a full-time job. If you want to be very, very good at computer music, it's a full-time job. There's only that many full-time jobs you can do, so it's really about the trade-off there. As someone who is new in the field, I would recommend, if you're interested in musical agents, and I will answer the question that what agents are available versus what agents did exist historically. It's all documented in the state of the art. If you search musical agents state of the art on Google, then the keyword is musical agents. That's what you're looking for.
Thank you.
I just have a question concerning the training you have at school. It means you are trained for specific tools during the courses. It means, I don't know, you are
Traditional Western music.
yes, but you are compositional, I suppose, course.
No, I had a violin course, and I also studied composition, but informally. I did
Okay.
all the lessons
Okay.
a contemporary student must do, but I was just a listening student, not.
Okay. But you are formal courses concerning composition existing.
Yes.
And in the program, you are specific. You are trying to do specific tools, or it's quite open. You can do what you want.
No. The composition course. I think there is no course of music programming here.
Okay.
You must find a way to yes.
Or outside or
And that's interesting to know because Max NSP is absolutely new to. I think it's something as 50 years old now. So it's good to learn anyway. But just to understand why we do this too, because I know that in France, for example, if you follow a course of composition in conservatory, you mainly train using Max NSP. It's quite a standard tool.
35 years, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's already
That's
old.
all. So why not? But it's just to understand how you come to this tool and but another one.
Yes, I came to these two because my composition professor, the Arthur
Okay. Told you about that.
yes, he told me.
Okay.
So I was searching a way of studying, of learning by myself.
So have a look on Ableton or Between also.
Not yet, but I know it.
Yes. Have a look. Because Maximus P is very hard to very difficult. So it depends on what you want to do, but you could spend a lot of time just to train the tool, and it's a bit, let's say, it's an advice for an old guy. You can lose a lot of time in order to train on the tool, and then you don't have the energy to work more on musical aspect. This is the trade-off I have seen with the people using Maxence. So be careful. Just
Thank you. So,
More comment? Well, thanks again. It's very interesting for us again. We are more on the computer side. Well, that one is a hybrid. But computer and also musicians, but not with all the. But anyway, to have your feedback exactly, which actually leads me to the conclusion of the workshop, because it's already 4:30. So actually, Gilbert, yesterday night we had a great night of music. This time without any amplifier. We played acoustic only, and we benefited from your presence, and it was great. And Gilbert told me before the end of the workshop, it would be great to have to discuss some kind of research agenda, actually, from what emerged as not only problems and some kind of things to dig in, to try to share, to discuss. Gilbert proposed one coming from Giordano's talk, that is the question of the task, the composition task, the different kind of stages of assumptions and objectives, etc. So to try to taxonomize somehow and to see where computer and this kind of technique,
Which is very common in the design domain, what you call task analysis.
yes.
You go to do something for someone, you try to understand all the tasks and subtasks that are involved in this, without answering your question that which is the most important. I don't know yet, but it could be interesting.
Yeah, and see what kind of technique, what kind of research topics for us, etc. Makes sense, is actually not useful because you don't need a computer for that. Computer will never compete, actually, or will compute but not compete, and etc. So that will be the first exercise. And of course, the idea is not to reinvent completely, because we are not the first guys just starting to think about it. We also have to do our kind of homework. But I think we really, thanks to all those contributions here,
From the first day, because your remark back home, the first day was in this direction already.
Yeah, also, no, I mentioned Giordano, this just because maybe this was the
stress.
Stress. And the second would be then from that, the kind of design space, which is a natural, actually, extrapolation. And Gilbert, you mentioned, but Philippe mentioned as well. And then the third one could be this, and actually related to what you said, is emotion aspect of music, and that is the way to express emotions, because they are very, and of course I'm thinking also of this project with Bruno and the computer games guy to do the snapping, but not only in more general sense, it's good to, at some point, to stop, just, okay, where do we start from, and what, as Bertrand said, it's also cultural, and
And I would say that Philippe raised some interest. First one, he said that there is a literature on this domain,
Yes,
but I don't know.
yes, we don't know everything.
And for example, I don't know whether we have already identify the main musical properties that conveys this kind of thing. And he put a second thing that I think that's very interesting, that, for example, in electronic music, it's not the same idea because we have more a mantra flow, it's different. And I think that's perhaps the domain. I have not read a lot about this thing, but perhaps that's something.
Concerning music for computer games, you know, like the suite from the virtual collection.
Yeah.
And I think probably this is a good eye for you because you wrote a nice book about composing music for games. So this is a very American way, you know, very efficient, practical kind of guide. But maybe there is something.
No,
And maybe this guy could that also, you know, like the suit seems to be a
And see if he has written something about it, you can
And
start
yes,
to read.
it's just a book. So I think it's not so old, maybe 2 years old, something like this.
Okay.
And I found it quite interesting. So it's not an academic approach. It's,
I will ask you the link.
It's not that written, it's also very
yes,
interesting because
it's very pragmatic and very. But
it's one of the inputs.
could bring input.
Yeah, and again, the idea was also to share because just one of us is not omnipotent and it's us.
And it could be interesting from the practical point of view, if you, in order to, I would say that to keep in touch,
Yes.
to have some kind of agenda you can discuss or write something about.
Exactly.
I have already talked with Philip about that.
Yeah, one possible output could be some kind of yeah, not just a survey, but more reflection, collective reflection, actually from the workshop. So so these are 3 examples, but these are not the only possible one, and it could be it's just it's just 3 possible topics to dig on, to work on collectively.
I suppose that with the musical school, you can also.
Of course. With more diverse perspective, the better. You know, because as just so on this third topic, one very basic mapping is minor is more sad, major is more happy. No, okay, of course, but this is true, but this is not just, you cannot just use only this, especially even in tonal music, not tonal music, but even more in soundscape, this doesn't mean anything. So anyway, just to, so what I can do is after taking some rest, like everybody, and now wish to go to this. Yeah, so try to, first receive your slides, etc. Put some photos and some jigs, some musical, and try to rephrase these proposals, and then let's try to work on that at our pace, because I know how it works. Every time I go to a great conference, a great workshop, I come back home, with the eyes, and then I come, and then there's all the email waiting for me, etc. So that's the usual syndrome. So we don't have a deadline, to do a report, etc. So it's just a motivation, right?
In terms of tasks, something we discussed during lunch, I would be personally very interested to work, of course, with the project and to mix if possible. The work done by Philippe,
Yes.
generating patterns and using strings
That's
and use your work on the way in order to see what it means.
I think that's interesting.
I think that's really because we are working all together.
Sure.
Which is, for me, it's very interesting.
Sure.
And let's say it's quite efficient because it means to mainly work to have something working.
Yes, to have some objective.
Yeah.
To have some objective. That's why
I invited you. Now you have to work.
Tricky.
It was not for free.
No free lunch.
Yeah, okay. So emission music is complicated, but sure to work on that. Game music, there's taxonomy in the state of the art, several of them in your books, and we think that one of the one we wrote, and if we do an approach collaboratively or concrete process, then it'd be nice to use what Jeva is proposing, which is to look at what has not been done. Right? Because global brands and all those things being done a lot, and industry like it's not interesting. So we have to find some more approaches, I guess. For the rest, the thing is PUC-Rio is big, so I like the idea of methodology and command paper, and I have a proposal very concrete with that I think is really feasible. But just to say that I think PUC-Rio, if we do a design lab at the next space, that is already too big to handle. And it be a good because we had computer system composition. You got lyrics, you got sound synthesis, you got music correlations, you got sound production. In all of those fields, I can do a 12-week concert, right? So this is long. We're talking thousands of systems. So what I think I have ongoing, not done yet, is we're halfway through writing a state of the art with methodology and taxonomy of computers, the composition of it. We have the taxonomy, show it like in 1 second or in my thing, but it'd be super nice to have a session where we can discuss it, approve it, and it's really happy to jump on the paper, which is already half written.
Okay.
So that's it. Jump on the paper, anyone who wants to contribute to it, because those are the type of the art paper itself, with the list, rows, and my PhD students will know Google. We did the first of that so many hours, and actually we use a table of the system we have so far, more than 70 of them, with our taxonomy, and I'm sure you'll be like, you're missing this system, you're missing this taxonomy, and that's where I think it'd be nice, so we got someone who already did something to start with, and we could work on that all together, and I think that's complete enough. So if you're interested, I send an email to the group, Jean-Pierre, if anyone is now on the mailing stuff, you can show you follow, and then we can take it from there.
Oh, we need exactly to have practical motivation. It's not just, and you're right, the field is too wide. But we could have some kind of macro view and focus exactly on musical regions for composition. I think, I don't know if you have some more. Oh, yeah. So happy birthday. But what happened?
Oh, she woke up.
We were expecting you yesterday, but I guess not.
Suddenly I had some friends who got really sick, and I went to help them, and they were like feeling dizzy, and so I was like, I won't let you alone.
Oh, you didn't party all night?
Sorry, couldn't.
You didn't party all night.
Oh yeah, I really wanted to go, but I couldn't go because when everything I sent this friend who was like really sick to their parents' house, but then I was so tired, suddenly so tired that I just lay down and rest. I slept until today's morning.
The weekend is promising.
Yes.
Yes, so Philippe.
No, just to suggest an official
Oh, yes, you're right.
portrait
You're right.
that we'll see in 100 years. Whoa.
No,
Here's one.
I was there.
Einstein and all the.
That was Gilbert before he was president.
Yeah. 50 years from now, you can say, I was there.
With a big, very serious face like this, so
In the other version,
is
You can do one with
in the
masks,
lado B.
one without masks.
the problem.
Without mask.
Without masks.
No,
we
in
can back in
100
time.
years,
What?
people will say no to the crazy people
The
without
problem is
masks.
that
They don't even have
one
a
of the
helmet.
problem is always somebody missing.
But
the
you
picture
took
because-
more
But
than
I think
we
we can put here and then you take one of the picture too.
This takes pictures also.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think the quality is not.
No, it's not the best.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
with masks and without them.
With and without.
Yeah.
No, but I think it's not the line is not the thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cine, Mauricio, yes.
No mask.
Oh, you're here, great.
I will take a lot of pictures. Please stay there. So you choose the best time.
Wow.
No.
Maybe one more, sorry, because you
Okay.
never know, you know. One more time for the world.
So many positions, I think that this shot will be terrific.
The crazy one.
Crazy.
Augmented reality.
No, one more.
Oh, another one.
Yes. Yeah.
With our photographer.
Let's do that.
Another crazy.
To be a cluster of photos.
Just let me see.
Whoops. Oh, yes.
For me, that I just shut my. One more, the last one. Soltando esse cabelo aqui.
Thank you. Thank you, Sidney. So, we're still on there. So we're still on there. The show must go on. So I want to thank you all. I won't do name by name, but but I want maybe a special thanks to Mauricio, who really did the. Yeah, I was thinking of this. No, it's not the dirty job, but the necessary job. And you're incredible. You were, you stayed there all the time, and so for 3 days, when you have other things more interesting to do. I hope that you.
I really
got-
like the presentation.
Yeah,
It's
you
really
really
good.
like
can
it.
see yourself.
Yes.
And Sidney for making it possible. You all, and really. For me, it was, and as you noticed during the semi-formal opening, it's not just one more event. It's a very important event for me, and probably it's one of the best into some events that I have organized. Maybe the most rewarding for me, and most interesting, the most interactive, the most provoking, and I'm very happy about that. So thank you. And, because as you know, it's like a mayonnaise, like when you do some emulsion with oil and vinegar and egg, you're not sure the thing will make a good mix. You never know.
He's Brazilian.
We try.
No problem.
No, you put first. This is the quality of the ingredients. You need to put the best oil, the best vinegar, the best egg, etc., which I try to do. But still, it doesn't. You're not sure that will. But the process, everybody was very open, very supportive, constructing criticism, comments, etc. Very open-minded, and this is not always like that, as you know. And so, great, thanks. And let's have a caipirinha.
Oh my God. The most important time.